This conference will now be recorded.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome back to the 2021-22 NWA season. My name is Andy Holm. I'm the chairman of the adult committee. I want to welcome everybody back. Glad that hopefully you will have a healthy and robust season and everybody be able to get back on the court. Little meeting tidbit notes. If you're not speaking, please put on mute so we just cut back on the reverberations of sound. So that'll help out in the sound quality. Second note, if there's any questions that you want to post, there is a chat function that you can go in and post the questions. We'll be monitoring that throughout the meeting. So let's get started. Once again, welcome. Glad to see that with stuff that we've seen online, that we're getting teams to get back into the registration and get back on the courts. This is going to be our first couple of new quarterly meetings coming up. So I want to welcome y'all. So what I want to do is we have a couple of agenda items that we'd like to go over tonight, and we'll open it up to the floor. So I'm going to turn it over to our Commissioner, Buddy Barnes, talk about team registration updates and deadlines. Buddy.
Thank you, Andy. Welcome, everyone. Looking forward to a great season this year, getting everybody back on the court and having some fun, banging some chairs around, hitting some threes. Registration-wise this year, Division I-wise, we have 13 teams so far. In Division II, we have 15. And in Division III, we have 36. So a lot better than, of course, last year. But I know we're going to have some more, hopefully, before the end of the year. There's still some teams that I've talked to, and then we've heard through conversations with our committee members that still cannot get into a gym, but there is promise in the next few weeks that will be able to happen. And looking forward to having them back out and playing wheelchair basketball again. For those who are transferring back to their teams they played with in prior years, or if you're transferring to a different division, December 31st will be the deadline for that. So make sure you get all your transfers in before that deadline and before you play in a game. That has to be approved before anyone can play on their new team. If your team is planning to participate at nationals this year in Wichita, December 1st is the deadline for team registration. And of course, once team is registered, then the players can go ahead and register as well. But December 31st will be that cutoff. January 1st is the transfer, or not, excuse me, the roster deadline. January 15th, if you have any of your players that are dual rostered for the junior division roster deadline is the 15th. And then February 3rd, our postseason applications will start opening up, and then postseason applications will be due February 24th. And then that'll go from there, and March 1st, we'll send out the invites. And then March 3rd will be the last day for bids to be accepted. And then March 13th will be the last day games are considered for the final seedings going into nationals. The 22nd, those seedings will be announced. And then we'll conclude our season March 30th through April 3rd in Wichita, Kansas at the national tournament. And that's the deadlines we have right now. And I'm going to turn it back over to Andy Holm.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that update. Next, don't see anything on the chat. So next thing up on the agenda is tournament registration process and calendar. I'm going to turn it over to Brandon McBean. Brandon.
Hey, thanks, Andy. I'm going to steal the screen share from you too, Andy, real quick. Just wanted to say, definitely excited to have everyone jumping back in their chairs, as Buddy said, banging chairs, hitting threes. But there is a process of going through, getting things appropriately sanctioned competition, and just wanted to kind of do a quick reminder for everyone about that process and the importance of that process. So first and foremost, if anyone is playing games between 2 teams, 3 teams, whatever it might be, those competitions do need to be sanctioned through our formal event sanction application, and that can be found on our website. So if you go under the members tab, then you scroll down here to applications and forms, you'll come to this page and you'll see the second tab here that says event sanction application. A reminder here is, this should be submitted at least 15 days out from the start of the event. I know there's teams that at times they looking to host something and they're planning ahead, but making sure that they submit this. They don't need to have all their details lined up for the event. We get it. There's always stuff that changes with events. You might bring in a D3 team and initially think it was only D2 teams in the tournament. That's completely fine when you can change your event sanction application. But what it really does is helps us at the national office, helps the adult division executive team be aware of events that are occurring. There's a lot of inquiries that we get about events happening and if they're sanctioned, which we'll go over in a second. And if we're not aware of them, we can't properly educate others on your great event if you don't go through this process. So once you go through the formal event sanction application, you will receive an approval email for your event being sanctioned. And once it's sanctioned, it will show up on our calendar. So if you go under the events and click on calendar, these are all the currently sanctioned events. You can click on these and you can go in here and see details on the events, the contact for the event director, so this allows you to reach out to the events if you're interested to attending in one of these events. All the information is listed here that you probably would want to know. But also, again, it confirms that this event is sanctioned. And this is the calendar you should be referring to on our website as the one calendar that has all sanctioned events. I know some events are shared on email or social media. Until those events show up on this calendar, they're not sanctioned events. And I bring that up is sanctioned events will be the only competition recognized for postseason application or seedings and rankings. So it's really critical that you make sure that the event you're attending is sanctioned, because we've definitely heard the concern for some teams, and we continue to share this information out. And we really hope that the teams can put the onus onto the event sanction holders or the prospective event sanction holders to sanction their events. And then the last piece I wanted to touch on about sanctioned events is just some of the administrative duties that go along with sanctioned events. We provide a great resource guide, which is available in our resource center. You can go to the learning tab here, go down to NWBA Resource Center. And I'm gonna just pull it up quick here. Is this resource guide kind of gives you, at the end of it, it gives you a checklist of everything you need to do for your event. But namely the thing I want to call out for this is process that we had in place. Sorry, I had to mute whoever that was. I'm just getting feedback on my computer. Is our quality control system, and to be honest, this is just a really fancy way of saying ensuring compliance for our athlete safety standards. It's something we've had in practice the last couple of years here, ensuring everyone that's at our event, either non-athletes, athletes, floor officials, classifiers, they're all registered, paid, good standing members. If a background check, if safe sport training if a team reviewer's certification, all those things are compliant and in good standing with us. And basically this goes over and really a summary of once they've done all those check boxes, they're going to show up either on a team roster or one of our list on our website where, where our floor officials that are approved, they're located on our website, or our classifiers. And really what I want the messaging across here is, let's really urge for a culture of safety here. Individuals just need to follow the necessary registration steps. We're here to assist if there's any challenges or complications with that process. But I think we all want a safe and fun environment, and keyword there being safe environment for our athletes to compete in. So I just wanted to take time and I appreciate Andy and Buddy allowing me to just speak to this a little. So just because it's so critical for ensuring that we have a formalized process that our members feel safe in any event that we might be hosting for them. So I think that's everything. Andy, anyone have any questions? Yeah, Mark,
Yeah,
what you got?
I clicked on one tab earlier before I was looking. When you click on the tab, does it by chance tell you who's in the tournament? Like I clicked on the one for the Borough Shootout, and it showed almost like an Outlook thing or something, because I need to try to get to see some more competition. So I like to see, like, again, who's in Borough. Is it worth me driving up there this weekend or something like that? So that's why I was wondering, does it give you a list of that?
It does not, but it has the contact information, for the event director, namely the divisions. Oh, well,
Okay.
I clicked on that one, and of course it didn't have the details. It should, and that'll be fixed. But as I used the one before, like this solar tip off, you can go on here and you can see Mike Beardsley is the event director for it. There's his email, there's his phone number, there's the venue, the divisions of play listed there. But namely the reason, Mark, is a lot of these, they're getting the sanctions approved. You can look out, we have events at Turnstone that are approved in February, but they're still securing the teams, right? But all the framework for the event is kind of secured enough for us to publish this. So yeah, I'd encourage you to reach out to the event director, but glad to field any other questions on this one. I don't know if another one came through there. Oh no, that was just a direct message. Yeah.
Brandon, if you would, I would appreciate if you would cover for our members, people that are on the bench, statisticians, whatever the case may be, from a non-athlete standpoint, who can and cannot be sitting on the bench during a game.
Yep. So if you're sitting on the bench, you're going to need to be registered, but you're going to need to be registered as a non-athlete. So I just went over here to our members tab. You can scroll down and you can go to our registration, individual registration. So just to remind everyone, we have a lot of different individual membership categories that we recognize as an organization. And the big bucket Buddy's talking about are non-athlete category. There's non-athlete roles that are non-team affiliated, and then there's those roles that are team affiliated. And those ones include a coach, team representative, or a lot of times they're the administrator for a program or whatnot. And then there's kind of this big bucket here where it's team support staff. And that was a recent bylaw that was changed this last summer of a membership category, because there's a lot of different roles that fit into this category. Statistician, any kind of medical provider on the bench, team reviewer is here, which I'll come back to in a second. I'm sure that's what Buddy, equipment manager, all these individuals have to go in, complete a non-athlete registration. The background check, which is required for any non-athlete, is fully integrated into the registration. And then Safe Sport information will be shared, and Safe Sport training is required by all individuals 18 and up in our organization. So, circling back, team reviewer, just on that note, even individuals serving as a team reviewer in an adult athlete role needs to register in the role of team reviewer as a non-athlete. And here's the reason why. That team reviewer role has authority over athletes. They're signing off on classifications, though they might be even proposed classifications. They do have authority and regular contact with athletes and potentially minors, even within the adult division. We know that minors play within that division. So it's critical that if they're planning to be a team reviewer, then they go and register as a non-athlete. We have a tracking mechanism that allows us to check if they've certified, and I know Buddy and Andy will get emails from me of those that have been certified for team reviewer within the division. So I understand it's another registration, but it's really I ask for the understanding of if you're serving in one of these roles, it's just a necessary step for compliance in that membership role. And you can't serve in that capacity unless you meet those requirements. But anything else, Buddy, that you wanted me to cover off on non-athletes?
No, I think you covered it there for us. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Any other? See, Mr. Paul Jackson and Parnes Cartwright jumped on, so welcome, guys. Andy, I think I covered my section. I think I'll pass it back to you and stop sharing.
Thank you, Brandon. So next on our agenda, there's no other questions. Next on our agenda is peer-to-peer campaign. I'm going to turn that over to Mr. Will Waller.
Thanks, Andy. And before I dive into the peer-to-peer campaign, I just want to say a couple of points about what Brandon just covered. First, we understand that teams have limited dollars, and it's really hard for teams a lot of times to pay all of the registrations that they pay for the different people who support them as volunteers in some of these different roles that they have. Not to mention the cost of equipment, cost of travel, and whatnot. So we don't take that lightly. We understand that it's expensive to play the sport, but at the same time, it would also be expensive if we had any individual in our organization go through any type of trauma related to abuse. So the entire point that Brandon was making regarding the standards for people to register and what they go through in a registration as a non-athlete, and in some other cases as anyone 18 and over, is to really make sure that none of our members have to go through what other people in other sports have had to go through as it relates to abuse. And that's really what's behind it. It's not about the NWBA reputation or anything like that. It's about making sure that people leave the tournaments and practices and events that they come to in the same condition that they arrived. And that's really the point around athlete safety and a safety of culture for athletes. Pivoting real quick to the peer-to-peer campaign, one of the things that we've tried to do in order to help teams deal with the expense of competing, the fact that revenue has dried up for a lot of people still after COVID. I mean, we're personally as an organization still dealing with the revenue decline that we experienced going through COVID. And we know even on a local level for a lot of our grassroots programs that same decline is existing there. So one of the things that we launched last year and did again this spring is what we call a peer-to-peer campaign. And I've got the page up on the screen. I'll show you all in a moment how it works. But ultimately what a peer-to-peer campaign does is it allows teams out there in the across the country to develop a page for the team that allows any individual on that team to put their story out there and go with their story to people in their network and in their family's network to ask for support for that team. 90% of the funds raised by the teams stay with the teams, and then the other 10% goes towards the cost of our tool and the time and effort that it goes to administer the tool, of which there's a fair amount that goes behind it. But ultimately, we have an overall campaign page. You can see that we've raised $17,000 so far. The majority of that has been raised by the various programs that are out there. You can see right underneath the nearly 17,000 that was raised, 204 people have donated. So you could do the math in order to come up with the average donation. So again, there's a campaign page for the overall peer-to-peer, and then you come up to this tab here. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and copy this and put it into the chat for everyone. Any of you want to go and check it out yourself, you'll be able to do that. That's the campaign page, and if you go there, you would go to the top right here and click fundraisers. And then here you can see all the individual fundraisers. Before I go into that, I'll show you the teams that have signed up. You can see the Charlotte Rolling Hornets, again, are leading. They raised almost $30,000 last year. They've already got 5,100. The Bennett Blazers have come on really strong. Last week, they just started their page and they're already at 3,300. And you can see a few of the other teams that are on here. So essentially, there are 5 teams that are pretty close to $2,000 or over, and then some others that are coming on. So at the end of the day, what an individual here would do, we'll take the Bennett Blazers. Gwenna Herman is the main person behind this. She created this team page, and then she shared the link, just like I shared the campaign link with you. She shared this team link to all of the parents in the program. And then when they get that link, they can not only see what the campaign's about, but there's also some canned information that's down here for any donor to want to understand, you know, what the NWBA is all about, what the cost of competition is about. You can see some of that information here, and as well as a testimonial you can see from Christina. And then you can see that the Bennett Blazers have raised that money just with a few individuals signed up. Gwenna is trying to get more people to sign up in her program. But anyone who receives that link, the parents, they just come right here and they would click this Join Team tab, and they would be able to build their profile. I'll show you what it looks like when they do. We'll come down here to Ronetta Pollard's page, and you can see that they've put together a quick blurb on what this means, what the sport means to JP, and they can put an image in here of JP. You can put a nice background image there, and there's also underneath this little area right where my mouse is going back and forth underneath this write-up, they could load as much video as they want of JP playing. They could load as many images of JP playing. And you would see, if I navigated through several of these, people who spend a fair amount of time talking about the impact that the sport has had on them and put a really targeted testimonial here, those individuals are the ones who tend to get a pretty robust response. If you come to Gwenna's page, you can see she's really kind of tapped into some more of the imagery for the kids, the emotion on their faces of playing, some of the younger athletes as well as the teenagers, so prep and junior, and you could, and varsity, I mean, and you can see, you know, just a variety of data in there. And these images really are worth, you know, 1,000 words. I won't click on it, but then there's this share functionality for Gwenna's page. Not only can she share it to Facebook, she can share it to whatever format she wants, but she could also just copy the link by coming here and copying her link and then sending that out over text message, and really going with very direct messages to as many individuals in her network as possible. And at the end of the day, the people who are doing as much of that as they can to be as targeted and direct, those are the individuals who had success last year. Those are the individuals who are having success this year. So currently, this campaign is set to be open through November 10th. There's been some question because Giving Tuesday is on November 30th. There's been some question as to whether or not we might be able to extend it based on the slow amount of uptake. And we're considering that. At the end of the day, we want this to be a tool that's available to as many people as possible who want to use it. And you know, we can't really say exactly why more teams haven't come on board and why more members of those programs haven't come on board. It could be just fatigue of everything going on. It could be that some of those programs have already had fundraisers and whatnot, and this is just coming at a time that that is not optimal. But we're going to continue to try to drive it. I know that I included the leaders of each division, included some communication to all of them. So hopefully everyone in division leadership roles continues to drive the messaging with the various teams within your divisions and some of the success stories. Literally, there was an individual last year, one young man who raised over $8,000, and there were over 20 or 25 individuals who raised, you know, I think a couple $1,000s each. So the potential for people who want to go out and hustle and tell their story, the story sells itself, and there's money to be had. I know Andy did it last year, and the Austin program might have raised close to $16,000 or $17,000, if I'm correct, Andy.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yep. So a lot of potential through the tool if you can really rally the people within the program around doing it. And you all know just as well as I know that whether it's getting to nationals or getting to a regional tournament, it's really expensive. And to be able to use a tool like this, which is relatively low effort, to raise money, it helps teams deal with what we hear the most. The number one barrier to competition is cost. And really that's the intent of providing these tools and resources to membership. Questions?
Will, is there a question, or I guess a question to probably open for everybody? I'm assuming on the website, maybe there's a video to show how to do the registration, or I mean, creation of the page, or is it just pretty self-explanatory?
It's pretty self-explanatory, but in the communications I've sent out, I've provided my number. I'm happy to jump on the phone and help anybody set it up, whether you're setting it up for your team, if you want to join an NWBA leadership page. I've even been encouraging some of these programs to say, if there's alumni of the program, for example, Ryan Nieswinder played for this team, Bennett Blazers, and he's got a great social media following. Ryan, if he wants to join in on it, he could help the Bennett Blazers in the program that he comes to. The money does not have to come to the NWBA. So we're encouraging people, if you want to help at a local level, please do. We just want wheelchair basketball to be stronger at the end of the day. But Andy, you can reach out to me, or you can have whomever you want to reach out to me. You can give them my number. You can give them my email. That's what I've been trying to convey to people, so that there's really no reason why people don't do it other than they're focused on something else.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Will. Just want to make sure everybody's aware of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you for the time.
Thank you, Will. Moving on to the last item on the agenda is a roundtable update. So basically what that means is we'll kind of go around the room, kind of give a little update. So I want to start with Dave Stenger. You'll kind of give us a little update of kind of what's going on in your neck of the woods.
Sure, Andy. I represent the Virginia Sunwheelers Division III team. Again, like a lot of teams, we were not able to practice until the first week after Labor Day of this year. So we're fortunate to get our same facility back. And we're just now getting to the point where we're trying to start to schedule some games, and we've completed our team registration. But it's somewhat challenging at times trying to get everybody focused and back on, because the new normal isn't the old normal. And it's tough trying to get new players as well. So again, the financial side, trying to get people motivated and to do things besides just showing up for practice is tough. So I started this a couple of years ago. I was out of the sport for a while, and the organization has changed a lot since I first began playing ball 51 years ago. So um, I appreciate everything that everyone tries to do and keep the sport going, because I want to make sure that happens. So that's where I'm at.
Thank you,
Hey,
Dave. Go ahead.
Andy, can I just say, let's all say it out loud, 51 years. Thank you, Dave. That's beautiful, and I
Well,
appreciate.
if you guys you got a minute, I can tell a story.
Yeah.
I played for the Chicago Wheelchair Bulls, and we would have summer practices at our practice facility. And I can remember this. We had some of the guys from the RIC Hornets come out and play during the summer. And one day this guy shows up, tall, blonde-haired guy, and it was Will. And I think you had just started playing, Will. You hadn't played very long. And you were still learning the game. You were still not comfortable in a chair. And that was when I first met you, or first saw you. I don't know if you remember coming out to Addison that day. And then years later, Will goes to U of I, which I had gone to, and we played some games against each other. And then we hooked up. I think last time we played a 3-on-3 tournament outside at the United Center. And so yeah, I go back a long ways, and it's been great. It's been a good part of my life, and yeah, a lot of memories, a lot of people.
So Dave, first of all, 51 years, you are the man. And let me just say this. The whole point of the sport, and I appreciate what I was going to say, is that you're still giving back in an administrative capacity in order to try to make sure that the game is available to the next generation. And that is the most high-powered thread of the story that we have to tell. So you're right, on a Wednesday night in the summer of 1994, after many guys trying to convince me many times to play, I finally, as I say, acquiesced and I gave in. I said, all right, just so you'll stop asking me, I'll try it. And, I had the biggest smile on my life because I felt sort of normal for the first time again. And someone picked me up and drove me there. They drove me home, and everyone helped me out, a cushion, all these straps and different things that I needed. So, 30 years later, 28 years later, whatever it is now, given a role, performing a role, giving back to the sport, that's what we're all doing. You know what I mean? And that's the beauty of the NWBA 72 years in, is that it's all about giving back to the next generation. So thanks for remembering that, and thanks for everything that you do. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Dave. That was great. And, let's move on. About Coach Paul Jackson. What's going on in Cali?
All right. Well, we got some rain out here in California, record rain, as you saw on the Sunday night football game. So everything is, I won't say back to normal, but the rain that we needed. We've been lucky over the summer. And we've been practicing at Slam Academy, which is an AAU affiliation. And the courts are not regulation, but we've had access to practice ever since the middle of the summer, according to state and county regulations for COVID. So we've been in the gym. I have two new ball players that have come out similar to your situation, Will. We've been trying to get them out, and we got them a chair through the Art Menowinski's program. Life Goes On. We've got them chairs. We also had 3 collegiate athletes come out during the summer. Maybe there it is. One going to the University of Missouri and 2 going to U of A. We got them ready for their return to college and playing ball. So it's we've been blessed. We've had only 1 athlete come down with COVID, and he has recovered, thank God. So it's been real safe, but I think that going back to Will's point about the peer-to-peer, it's what you put into it. We have a fantastic sport, and if you get back what you put into it. And I haven't been in the sport for 50 years, but I've been in the sport for 45 and represented the United States in 8 competitions. But this has been my life. Other than my immediate family, my wheelchair basketball family is my second family. So I take this pretty seriously, and I want to thank Will and the NWBA for providing this peer-to-peer program so that teams can raise money and get back on their feet so we can have another season, another NWBA season. So we're doing all right. We've have more money in the bank than we've had in a long time. So I think, I think we're going to be all right. That's all I got.
Thank you, Coach. Go down the room, go Parnes Cartwright. What's going on in Florida?
Good evening, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Nice to be on in this meeting tonight. I think with what's going on in Florida is a little bit of a change with players and registering. The good news is that players seem to be getting back to normal with more gyms opened up, some new players. There's been quite a bit of player movement with teams changing divisions. So players are trying to make sure that they're playing in the proper division. So that's been good and exciting. And again, there's new players that I haven't met yet. I am hoping to get to some of these tournaments that I could not get to last year. There is a team that we're still coaxing on the way back into the association. That is the Sunrise Suns, and they finally got a gym after I think it was 23 months without a gym. Due to new construction, but they're back in the gym, and they've got again new players, so they're pretty much starting from scratch, and they will still remain a recreational program, but it's nice to see that they are on their way back. I have suggested the peer-to-peer, and I've touted some of the successes. And think we are still yet to see any activity for the Florida teams. And of course, the Fort Lauderdale Sharks. Will, did you want to
Hey,
say
Parnes,
something?
I apologize for interrupting you. I just want to say, if you think that there's one of those teams that's most likely to do it, and if it's about maybe getting one to do it so that they could eventually give their testimonial, maybe we get one this time, and then, you know, in a subsequent cycle, we can get some more. But if there's anyone who you feel is like really on the fence and they're interested, you know, just connect them with me directly, and I will make it as simple and easy for them as possible. So I appreciate you touting it, but just throw that out there, because if there's anything we could do to get them over the edge, let me know how I could help, okay?
Will, I appreciate that, and I think I have a person that I will speak to about that, and that person has been a part of Miami Heat Wheels for a number of years, um, and and he has helped start a lot of the fundraising with Miami Heat Wheels in a bunch of different ways. So I will mention that, and I think this person will probably take you up on that. And lastly, just to show you how wheelchair basketball really affects people. I remember the Fort Lauderdale Sharks when they started, and all the kind of turmoil that they went to create the team. And now they are the premier team in Florida right now. And it's nice to see it's a well-run organization, and also quite well funded right now. It's certainly being able to be successful in the adult division, and now it looks like they will have two teams in the adult division and a team with the juniors. So very exciting for that, and looking at two junior teams in the Florida Conference now.
Thank you, Parnes. Thank you, Parnes. Mark, did you have anything in what's going on in Pennsylvania in your neck of the woods?
No, I mean, I know the Steel Wheelers are organized and they're doing okay. Their pit helps them with a gym and stuff like that, so they're doing okay with that. I don't have any specific details. I mean, the only bad thing is recently, in the past couple of weeks, two older Steel Wheelers passed away, and that's that part of the community part that we all know and stuff like that. But it is what it is, and as I say, look, we didn't die from our spinal cord injury. We died from something else. That was the goal, you know, kind of thing and stuff. So it happens and whatever. So no. But can I say one other chuckle of a story though? I had a different kind of love from Chicago from Will's. Mine was more of a tough love. When I went to Chicago, I was 24. I was coming out of Wright State, went to O&P school, so I played with Chicago. Well, they were a tough old set of guys because they were the sidewinders when I was with them. Okay. And, you know, so I remember specifically this one event. Oh man, I'm blanking on his name now. Guy was an old post polio, and I was 24 and he had played 24 years. And they said something about, oh, well, Gorman can outrun him. And he went, big damn deal. He doesn't know where the hell he's going. So he can go run circles all he wants. I'll meet him where he needs to be, and then we'll go from there. So, again, welcome to the tough love. Vince Caputo was his name. And like I say, you got to love the tough love of the old days, too, you know, kind of thing and stuff. We all can appreciate. That's how we all love the rookies, because we all been there, done there, scared. But I didn't come in as a rookie because I'd already had a couple years. So the Chicago boys showed a little different kind of love, but it was good.
There was Vince Caputo and Marv Lapicola. The two of them, yeah. If you could get through those two and survive,
Exactly.
Yeah. Um,
Exactly. Yep.
uh, Vince passed away a few years ago, but I think Marv is still around.
Marv's still hanging in there. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So, anyways, we love the stories, and we don't want to go too crazy on all that stuff. So, but thanks.
Thank you, Mark. Great story there. Great story. Just so I'll give you a little update from the Texas realm. We've kind of been open probably about midsummer. Teams have been able to get back into the gyms and stuff. We just recently hosted our LT Classic in the beginning of October, and I think we had probably about 14, 15 teams at the tournament. So that was including prep, juniors, D3, D2 teams. We did have the UTA women's and their basically A team for freshmen and stuff come down and play and stuff. So it was good to get back onto the court. Good to see everybody back out. It was almost back to normal, what it was about 2 years ago. Moving forward, an update is one of our new teams in Corpus Christi Rims, had just raised enough money. They're going to be traveling to Fort Lauderdale. They are super excited to actually get out of the state of Texas and play into another tournament and see somebody else. So we want to give them kudos on their adventure and their hard work and dedication. In the Austin area, we've basically we'll have two adult teams, Division One and Division Three team. We have a juniors and a prep, and we're also looking to put a women's team together this year. We had just, as of last year, we just sent a young lady off to Illinois. We also have two of our former one junior athlete and an adult female that are both playing on the UTA women's team at this time. And we have probably another athlete on our D1 team that'll probably be on the women's team of her choice, wherever she'd like to go. But with that involvement of increased participation and stuff, and also with the change of rules allowing able-bodied women to participate and stuff, we've kind of opened a lot of doors. And I think we've got about 7 to 8 women in our organization that we decided we're going to put a team together. We've got money set aside to do local travels and stuff. We'll see. We may go to nationals, may not, but just right now we want to start that endeavor. So that's going to be a new, exciting time in our neck of the woods. So just wanted to put that on the board. Other teams in the state.
Andy, if you don't mind me interrupting you for a quick second, I think what's really interesting about everything we've heard, I mean, notwithstanding, some of the passing of some of the steel wheeler prior players, which is, the tragic part, most tragic part about being in my role is how often I hear about those things. But beyond that, we've heard so many positive updates. And I think sometimes the trap is, spending time on what's wrong, but everyone here has spent some time tonight talking about what's right. And there's so many good updates. And just listening you talk about the kids who have gone on to collegiate programs from your area is just, that's not just great for the collegiate programs, that's great for their lives. We just got to bottle up some of these stories and just talk about how we can expand the number of people that we're having that type of impact. Doesn't mean people have to go to college, but if they could use the sport as a tool or a vehicle to move through their own disability journey, I mean, that's pretty powerful. So we have to figure out how to package that up and get it on some peer-to-peer pages.
And glad you rolled me right into that one. So speaking of that, as Will alluded to before, we were one of the participants of last year. I think we were right around the 16, 17,000 range that we raised as an organization from our junior program. And one of our juniors was the second highest rated participant. I think he only missed first place by like either $42 or $22 or something like that. He was kind of irritated about it. We heard about it at practice all the time. So we blamed his father. So that is something that we've been discussing previously. Right now, we've had several team meetings, so we're looking to get back into participation of that here very quickly. And so we definitely highly encourage it. Is like Paul Jackson alluded before, is what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. If you only put 5 minutes into it, you're going to get 5 minutes worth of effort out of it. If you put the time and effort into it, get the word out, spread the word, and not only raise awareness for you individually, for your team, your organization, to the sport of wheelchair basketball. It's amazing how much feedback you get from people who say, "Oh, I always heard you played ball, or you coach this, or you do this. I read your story. I read your team page and stuff like that. Now I have a participation. I can tell a personal story that I had. Even my former bosses or some of my former coworkers donated like $500. Wasn't even asking for that. They just, out of their goodness of their heart, because they understood that the story was right, it was backed up, and they see the fruits of the labor this upon that. And based on that money that was raised, our junior program is growing from starting about 5 years ago with 6 athletes. Now we're somewhere around a little 20 plus junior athletes. And just this week alone, we've got probably 3 or 4 more athletes by word of mouth that are going to come out to participate as young as 5 years old. So the sport is growing. Get the word out. It's a power of the voice. Everybody's got one. Use your lips. Make it happen. So that's a wrap on Texas. And anybody else has anything they want to bring to the table? Will?
May I? You said use my lips, so I'm sorry. But I want to give a couple of other updates for everybody, since we won't have our last town hall until the December timeframe. So for the folks who watch this, just to give a couple of other updates. The first is not this weekend, but the following weekend, we're going to be having our November board meeting, and it was going to be a face-to-face. We've shifted it to virtual just to try to be good stewards of our dollars as an organization. So we're going to have, somewhere between 6 and 10 hours as a leadership team talking through a variety of different initiatives. The main topics that we're going to be talking through, the first one is our strategic plan. It was put together in 2018. Obviously, we've had a couple crises to deal with, but we've still made some really good progress on some things. But 3 years in to the strategic plan, and with a lot of the change that we've had at the board level with new members coming on, it's a really good opportunity for us to step back and say, what do we want the strategic priorities to be for the organization as we go forward in the next 3 years? So we're going to spend a significant amount of time talking about that. And then we as a national office, based off of the updates to the strategic plan, will put together what we think the goals and objectives should be for 2022. And we'll then be able to kind of roll out what those priorities are, hopefully in the December town hall meeting. So we're really excited about being able to do that. We think it's a great time to do it. Hopefully we got some of these crises behind us. We're definitely not where we want to be, but we're continuing to make progress, day by day, week by week, month by month, to continue to strengthen the foundation of the organization. And the next thing we're going to be talking about is our diversity, equity, inclusion strategy. We're feeling really good about launching the military division, about launching a women's growth and diversity initiative. But the diversity, equity, and inclusion strategy is something that we need to submit to the USOPC, but it's a great way for us to talk about what we've done, but also sharpen the pencil a little bit more and make sure that we've got very specific goals about making sure that our membership base of the organization looks like our society, right? And so that's the goal of that. And then we're going to be looking at the financials of the organization, but also the eligibility committee has put some thoughts forward that we'll be reviewing as well. So that's going to be the agenda for that board meeting, and we'll look to provide updates coming out of the board meeting so everyone's aware about the path forward, and ultimately so that the divisions and the teams not only are aware, but they can connect the work that's happening at the next level down to where we're going sort of at the macro level of the organization. And then one of the other things that we're working on is trying to get some of our larger donors of the organization to participate in some clinics that we're calling Paralympians Start Here. You know, we've had great success with our men's and women's team in Tokyo. Through and against all the odds, they went to Tokyo, and we were the only country to return with 2 medals in wheelchair basketball. So we went into the competition as the highest medal count as a country, and we came out of the competition with a little bit more of a lead because both of our teams went and did what they needed to do. Whether you think about the coaches, the athletes, the staff members, everyone just did a great job in doing that. But now the question is, how do we then get out into some communities and start introducing people to the sport who don't know about it? And how do we kind of start some new Paralympic dreams, but use it as a way to get our largest donors to reach out to their communities, similar to peer-to-peer, and try to convince them to get behind the sport so that we could have a bit of a multiplier effect. So that's another initiative that we're working on. Once we have all of those sites firmed up and finalized, we'll reach out to folks who are in and around those areas, because if you happen to know a donor or someone else who might be interested in getting behind it, we'd love to get people's support to make sure that we've got the seed money that we need to continue to drive programming at a grassroots level. Okay, thank you guys.
Thanks, Will.
All right. Well, we are at 8:30 as the end of our time. I want to thank everybody for being on tonight, and great conversation. And we look forward to the next town hall meeting. And so be on the lookout for those dates and times. And everybody have a great night. Thank you.
Be safe out there, everybody.
Appreciate the stories.
This conference will now be recorded.